we're going to begin, at least at the entrance of this practice, with our eyes open. But as we progress, you can close your eyes if you like. One way to talk about what we're doing in this practice is developing our presence. If you recall the last couple classes or sessions that we've done, I've talked about how being able to see and acknowledge and then verbalize your appreciation of someone or something that they're doing. There's a link to a deeper dimension of appreciation that is not dependent on an object. The home practice for the last 2 weeks was dependent on an object. Somebody did something and you spoke to that. There's another dimension of our experience where there is awareness and appreciation, and it's not focused on a thing or a person. So that's what I'm hoping we touch in today's meditation practice. So first, we're going to pay attention to our location. And the two senses, exteroception, exterior sensation, the two senses that give us the most information about our surroundings, our location, are seeing and hearing. So use your eyes. That is a form of awareness of a visual field. Everything that's coming into your eyes is informing you of the visual field of where you are. Okay? Now we're going to do the same thing, but with our ears. Bring attention to what you can hear. You're gaining information about your location from a different sense. Now it's coming through hearing. So this is what you might consider one level, perhaps the first level of developing presence, is you're actually connected to the location where you are. Your surroundings matter. They have an impact on you. You can see and you can hear the different aspects of your surroundings. Okay, so now, instead of going outside, we're going to go inside with awareness, interoception. So as you turn your attention inside your body, this is a different layer of being here. There are likely several sensations that are, perhaps the word is obvious. There's the pressure where your seat meets the chair. There might also be pain or discomfort, which can be a loud voice. But there might also be subtle or small pain and small discomfort. These are different sensations inside your body. And by the way, they can only happen in the now. These sensations that you're aware of are happening now. So far, we haven't talked about emotions or thoughts. That's another level deeper, another level of subtlety. Emotions are kind of like the overlap of sensations and thoughts. So just check to see if there are any lingering emotions from what has already happened today, or if there are emotions related to what you expect or imagine will happen later. And maybe the internal space is relatively clean of emotions. There's no wrong emotion, no right emotion to have, but we're turning our attention to whatever emotions may be in our body mind right now. Letting go of attending to emotions and just turning our awareness to the field that the field into which thoughts emerge. Now, there's a particular thing that I'd like you to notice in today's practice. There are thoughts that arise unbidden. You're not calling for them, you're not inviting them, and they come all by themselves. There's nothing wrong with thinking. What I want us to zoom in on is our capacity to notice thoughts. So here's a little practice. I'd like you to think of your vehicle. It's likely that there is an image in your mind of what your vehicle looks like. That is a mental process right there. Imaging is a mental process. But you might notice there are other thoughts that accompany the notion of your vehicle. For example, maybe you think about filling it up with gas, or you think about the collision that one of us was just in, or you think about how much money you owe. It doesn't really matter what you think. The point here is just to notice that there are thoughts that are connected to the concept, your vehicle. That as you develop more and more finesse in the domain of noticing your thoughts, you will eventually notice that there's a little gap between your thoughts. Your awareness is still at full power. It's just that there's no thought in your mind at that instance. And you can be awake to that. Soon enough, there will come a thought, but that's not a problem. What I want us to be able to acknowledge is when there is that noticing that there is not a thought. The wakefulness is pure and strong and right, and every once in a while it can notice the absence of thought. So we're just going to practice that for about 20 or 30 seconds. Now, releasing from that kind of focus. We're still developing our presence. We're still developing our awareness. And here's what I'd like you to scan for, and that is evidence, internal, interoceptive evidence that your body is alive. And here's a way to emphasize that. Would you bring your hands in front of you, in the air in front of you? And here's the question. Without seeing your hands and without moving your hands, can you feel your hands? You might notice that there's extra sound through our microphone as a truck is pulling into a neighbor's yard. But our focus right now is on the sensation of our hands. That is continuous. It changes. In fact, here's how we'll change it. Make fists with your hands, but do it slowly. And you can feel the hands changing their shape, the fingers changing their shape, the grip and the strength that goes into holding a tight fist. There's still awareness pouring into the hands. And let the fist go. Just let the fist go, wiggle your fingers a little bit, and then let your hands go to wherever they'll be comfortable. And shift your attention now to your lips and your tongue. You may notice a kind of quivering or shimmering sensation. For this practice, we're going to call that energy. We could also call it life. Yeah. So what we're doing is developing our presence physically, first by acknowledging the location where we're at, secondly, by acknowledging the gross sensations in our body, and the subtler sensations associated with life, along with thoughts and the gaps between the thoughts and emotions. Awareness is like space. There's enough space for all those different dimensions of experience. So here's the last piece of today's practice. awareness, directing your awareness. You've done a great job of directing it towards the external world, the internal world, the mental world, the emotional world, the dimension of life or energy in the body. Here's the next place. Awareness of awareness. I feel like I'm asking you to do something that's impossible to do, but there's a sense that you can touch awareness of awareness, but it's like a match is both igniting and extinguishing in the very same instant. So we're going to continue to attend to this difficult or impossible task of directing awareness to awareness itself for another 30 seconds. It might help to slow down your breathing. So there's 30 seconds. We're going to go for another 30 seconds. And this time, consider not breathing at all. Just experiment. What happens when you pause breathing? The next 30 seconds. Okay. So we're almost done with this practice. I just want us to hover around this state of heightened awareness because some some cultures, some traditions, some religions have names for this state. Some call it consciousness, and some call it self with a capital S. Some call it stillness. But that's one of the words that Eckhart Tolle uses, is stillness. Another word he uses is presence. At this level, there is either very little or none of who you are as a person that's prevalent. It's just awareness. But it's coming through your body, your mind, your experience. It's manifesting through you. And in that way, your body, your background, your history, your aches and pains, your thoughts all matter because it's all part of this expansion of consciousness. At this level, pain isn't yours, it's just pain. Thoughts aren't yours, they're just thoughts. In the same way that sounds are not yours, gravity is not yours, air is not yours. At this level, all is present and in continuous flow. Okay, so we'll give 1 minute of silence for you to deepen any aspect of this practice for yourself, or for you to say, okay, thank you, goodness, I'm done. I'm going to relax now and let my mind go wherever it wants to go. So as we release this practice, the invitation is to sustain being in the foreground and let doing happen in the background. One of the ways to help yourself sustain the orientation around being is to ask yourself, who am I as you go about your day? Who is this? I'm not suggesting that there are easy answers to the question. I'm suggesting that the question itself ignites an awareness of being.